Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Chaile Time. Toby, how are you and welcome to this week's episode?
Seppo, we're getting fat. We need to put in our stomachs.
Yeah, I told you that.
Have you seen how we look like from the
There's
outside?
gym that is Planet Fitness. I think it's open already. I'm going there now. It's a new complex. Just on the way to work, you see. I can pop in there.
Have you seen how we look like from if we watch Chaile Time?
I haven't. I listen too much to what we say more than what we look like, you see.
I think the photographer must only take pictures from up here.
The message is on the message on what we say, not how we look like. Otherwise,
you see, we're in sync with this. Better energy this week. Last week's topic was quite depressing.
Yeah, it was. But this week.
Well, this week we're talking about an interesting concept, how to deal with, or how I dealt with, Generation Z, they call them, no?
We call them AMA 2000.
Yeah, you call them AMA 2000. Google called them Generation Z. And apparently, I'm from Generation X. I'm born in 74. So the Generation X, we still played with little cars in the garden, and we had little bicycles.
No internet.
No, there was no. The computers started to come out in those years, and we still learned to work hard, man. When I started to work, I was a storeman in Pick and Pay, packing cokes, and I worked for cinemas, scrubbing popcorn pots.
Sometimes they ban you, sometimes they shock you. Electrical fault, because I know that old popcorn pot used to have two wires underneath, and it will bend out, and then as soon as it comes out, then the pot doesn't get hot anymore. You accidentally touch that thing, it shocks you, and then you must put it back, and then.
My son is also Generation Z, and he's finishing school end of next year. I told him this weekend, boy, December 2025, you are finished with school. 1 January 2026, your room is no longer for free. Your food is no longer for free.
Hey.
And you just look at me like this reality is now sinking in. And I said, well, maybe, if you don't have some, because he's not like, no, he's not going to go study because, what does the professors know? I want to be a billionaire and none of them are rich, so why must I listen to the professors at the bloody university? Who cares? So I'm like, okay, but then you must go to Spar and be a cashier or start as a cleaner or something, because you need to pay for your room, We'll fix it at 5,000 a month or something like that, then you get food and your room included. Forget about electricity, 5,000 is enough. And work at Spar as a cleaner. And I can see the smoke. Suddenly 1 + 1 is not 2 anymore. You can see, Generation Z is in overdrive. It's like, Andrew Tate on social media didn't tell me this. He didn't tell me after school I must pay with my parents. He told me of how to be thinking to become rich. But who pays mom for the food after matric? He didn't teach me that.
It's like, I'm smart, I'm this, I'm good looking, I'm this, I can be a billionaire, I fight well, I do this. That's
Generation Z. Those who have been born around about 2000 up to, I think, most recently, 2020 or so. And they grew up in the social media age of the computer, the internet, they get influenced by social media.
Yeah.
Instagram, TikTok, that's the age we're talking about. And some of the characteristics of this age is that they are locked in their rooms, like Generation X, like us. We were after school. Oh, my goodness. When the clock rings at school, it's now, you go home now. It took us like 3-4 hours to get home, even though you just stayed around the block. And the reason being is because we were on the way, what is albusters called in English? Marbles.
Yeah.
We will play marbles on the way to home. And in those days, if you win, you take the other kids' marbles for use. You have this whole bag full of marbles.
You used to put them in a aqua cream container.
You actually never get home. So eventually, when you do get home, you get a hiding too for taking forever to get home.
And you are dirty.
And you're dirty. And then but then you haven't played yet. Then your mother will take you to do homework, but you don't want to do it because you haven't played yet. So you want to go ride with your bike with the rest of the community, or you want to play with your cars. Or you want to torture your brother or something like that, That's Generation X. But we've learned to actually work. A lot of us didn't have money to go study, so you'll go to your local. I went to Pick and Pay and started as a storeman. Hey, yes, see those courses in the Cape. Tsepo. Whiny, jy moet wakker wees nou, and they take the coke. They don't give it to you, hey, go pack it there. You stand 5 meters away and they gooi. And not just one, jy moet wakker wees, papa. Hulle gooi, en jy moet vat, pak, en dan jy sweat, hy kom op, en as jy dink jy's nou moeg, that was a coke, now the Omo powders, come.
Same routine.
Same routine. Got heart full of that, and therefore I go to Pick and Pay to Sterkini Core, and I think, this is going to be my big break. Now you sell popcorn. It's like with your little bow tie, and scrubbing pots, and sweeping floors, and if you're short with your cash, you pay it in at the end of the night. Oh, yes, Generation X. But eventually, you become the supervisor, eventually you become the manager, eventually you become the senior, eventually they allow you to study, and now you get a kid who tells you you've wasted your life. Generation Z. Okay, so anyway, I dealt with a dispute this week, or last week. We did a counseling session, and this is an accounting firm. There you sit with the senior, or one of the senior, well there are two, the owner and him are the senior accountants. But he's Generation Z, so he's probably like, I estimate him to be about 22 years of age. Look, a bright kid, clever, intelligent, extremely ambitious, but with a snotty attitude. Oh my goodness. He sat there with his beautiful body, good looking. I sat on his table and there's this picture of him and his beautiful girlfriend.
Andrew Tate.
And he's like, he's got this, wat noem jy 'n kuif in Engels, this hair thingy, looks like Superman, you know. I'm like, what a beautiful boy. And I just saw my son in him. Now, I've got an awesome son, but there's something similar there. And his problem is that he's got this attitude creating a disruptive workplace. What sparked a lot of this is there's a issue with one of their clients. Now, apparently, neither him nor the owner are lawyers, so there's a question mark in terms of law. He's of the opinion that you can't do it, she's of the opinion that you can because it's a grey area in law. And he just refuses. And also, now it comes out with many of the customers, he will send them snotty emails of how he will not help them and how if they're not going to do what he tells them, they're going to sue them. And now, this owner brings this to the table, and I'm like, son, have you heard of fiduciary duty? He said to me, yes, I have, because for that meeting, he actually prepared a legal research document on all his rights and all these terminologies of fiduciary duty and everything. He was prepared to sue the CEO. The only problem is CEO is mother.
I'm a 2000.
Woman is his mom. And then as a side note, when I found out this is mothers, and I was like, oh my goodness, they said, yeah, after 5, they've got a quite good relationship. But the problem is before 5.
The problem is 8 to 4.
The problem is 8 to 4 or whatever. And he just doesn't care. But now also, I could see that there's actually supposed to be a very good corporate culture there. Sensing from the spirit, I can sense from the mother now, okay? And every Monday morning, they've got like a book club where every month as staff, they will read a book and then they will reflect on a piece of it and try to apply it mostly in a work context. Like this week, we all will phone a client and just ask them how they're doing and be nice. This week, we're going to focus on each other and just out of your own greed first and be nice to your fellow colleague. But he refuses. He sees it as a waste of time. This is personal stuff. This is stuff that doesn't make money. I'm like, oh my goodness, okay. And he just doesn't care. So he doesn't contribute. He doesn't want to do it. And they say no, but he's causing a disruption in the workplace. I said, really? Okay, call me one of the staff. Call me anyone. So they said, this one come. She come testify. Yeah, he doesn't care. He doesn't talk to us. He doesn't cooperate. And you know what? When there are new ideas, if it's not his idea, he doesn't want to talk about it.
It doesn't matter.
And you know what he's told me? I asked him, okay, so you've listened to what the witness now said. What do you say about it? No, she's right. Everything she says is the way it is. If it's not my idea, I'm just not interested. Now, Generation X starts boiling. You know how we sorted each other out in those days? We had a stick.
You remind me of Professor X from the X-Men.
You know, after everything, the mother went to send me off in my car. I told her I was so tempted to take this boy behind this chaff here and put him on the head against the wall. I was like, just wait, effing up. Anyway, but now you keep your composure, you calm down. Eventually I had to tell this boy, son, I know you know what fiduciary duty means, but you don't know what master-servant relationship means. Before 5, your mum is not mum, she's boss. She's master. That means she tells you to come, you come. She tells you to go, you go. She asks you to jump, you ask how high. You ever send a snotty email to a client again and tell your mother that you expect her to sue clients not listening to them. You don't do that. She's your boss. Before 5, you say, ma'am. And you know what?
Response?
He looked at me like his face red. I think he was so shocked. He never in his life had somebody telling him he sucks. And that I told him, you are rebellious, you are insubordinate, disrespectful, and you frankly don't know your place. As a matter of fact, I actually don't see how this relationship continues. You must make up your mind whether you want to be here. And then he looked at me and says, we can see that my mother is paying you. So he still didn't understand, man in the mirror, that, hey, this is not your place. This is not your business. And you know what? My son always told me, my son had a speech at the school last Tuesday. No, this Tuesday. He had a speech at school, and he spoke about why school sucks and he doesn't want to finish it. And it was brilliant. And he got 93% for it, so he did very well. And he basically told the teacher indirectly how her career choice sucks. But anyway, she scored him very well. And you know, this child now in the counseling session, he finished school, when he was 16, he left. He actually actioned this nonsense, I'm not going to go to school. So I had to, in a moment, make this boy realize the reality of life. But there is a Generation X and Z issue here, because we understand the world probably a bit different. For us, it is still hard work. You must walk the miles. And you know what? You respect your boss.
Yeah.
You respect your mother and your father. You respect the property of others. And obviously we're generalizing now, but a lot of the Generation Z people don't understand that. And you know what, Seb, I've actually went to do some reading on this. The Generation Z, they've got issues, eh? There's some great things, like they will teach Generation X how to make money, which, look, these are concepts I suppose we don't understand. And I must be careful as a father that I don't push my son into my framework. Go to Spar as a cleaner and work yourself up until you're the boss and owner of Spar in 100 years' time. You know, that's our mentality. No, they also make apps. Take them 6 months to make an app and make millions. You know, that's the mentality. But the challenge is from a social perspective. They get locked in the walls of their house. They spend the majority of the time in the PCs. And I don't know if it's true or not, but I've read it, that the fertility rate of Generation Z is also going down, in the sense of they're not so inclined to relationships, getting married. Married is a waste of time and money. And my son told me that, why the hell must he get married or even have a girlfriend? It's just wasting my time to become a millionaire. I know, until the hormones kick in, then it's like other way around. But that's the mentality. So they're not so sociable anymore. They don't make friends so easily unless if it's via a game on the internet. You know, those friends you have, the ones you've never seen in your life.
And then
you know?
chances of meeting are very slim.
They also don't learn the respect of, if you actually do step out and go work somewhere, that guy, the owner, is actually your boss, master servant. He's not your dude. You know, you do as he tells you. And if you're not happy, like this guy's complaining about he's overworked. So I said, listen, have you ever spoken to your owner or your master about this? No, that's a subjective waste of time. Trying to resolve matters is a subjective waste of time. I'm like, where the hell does the sun come from? You know? So they told him, listen, until such time that you complain formally, and you guys can resolve these issues, you do what she tells you. You do your work, and as she gives you more work to do, you do it. If you don't, you get fired. Very simple. Then you go to the CCMA and say, Paul, I know last week now we joked about how serious CCMA commissioners are.
Yes.
The comedians, no? But there's this commissioner, Pretoria. I'm so tempted to say his name, but he looks like Verwoerd. You know? He's got this short hair. You know, I was before him like, I think twice in my life, and I've got some other people also before him, but my first time, this employee stole something at the private school. She was like a teacher or something. Put in a hearing, dismissed her. So I now, in conciliation, we objected against con-ops. It was only myself and her. You know, in conciliation, the commissioner will ask, okay, so why were you here, employee? Tell us. No, I was dismissed for stealing something, whatever. And this commissioner said, did you steal it? Yes. And that commissioner, he got so angry. He's like, why are you wasting my time? And I just decided to myself, today you shut up. You don't say a word.
Let the universe take its course.
The universe will take its course. And I just like, But 3 minutes later, she withdrew the case. Now, you know, the LRA say that the commissioner has got wide discretionary powers how to deal with the case. But this commissioner doesn't take your crap. And actually, my friend, he represented a woman against her husband before the same commissioner. There was a dismissal case because she worked for him, so he chased her away. And there's a divorce case at the High Court also. And these two were fighting. And he just told me that commissioner at one stage, people, I've been divorced 5 times. Please. So I'm like, actually I went for dismissal, some few years ago, I went for some training at the CCM and he was giving class. Brilliant, man. But I'm like, you know, we need more commissions like that. He doesn't take shit, eh?
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
No, I would like to I want this guy now, this final warning to file unfair labor practices. I just pray that commissioner deals with if it's only conciliation, because, I mean, that boy will never, he will get the shock of his life if he thinks the CCMA is a romantic place there.
Yeah, so Generation Z, it's another generation, because we also had a client whereby I did a hearing for them, and then the outcome of the hearing was for the lady to be transferred to another store, and then she will get a final written warning. She wrote like a 2-page message. You know, I know my rights. No one must give me a final written warning if I haven't got a verbal warning. She doesn't greet us. Now she's expecting her boss to greet her. She doesn't. You know, they don't care, this generation. They just want things to happen their way. And then it's their way or nothing.
So Generation Z, if you've been born after, I think it's 1997, just listen for a moment, okay? That company you work for is not yours. It belongs to somebody else. They're your boss. In labor law, it's called master-servant relationship. Okay, it means they're the master, you're the servant. It means you do whatever they tell you as long as lawful and reasonable. If they tell you to come, you come. Tell you to go, you go. You don't do that, they will take disciplinary action against you and even dismiss you, and they've got the right to do so. Similarly, one day if you have your business, and if you have staff, it's your business, not theirs. You're the master, they're the servant, okay? There's something called, the whole employment relationship is found on a concept called the fiduciary duty. It means an act of goodwill and good faith, both parties to one another. But you as an employee, you need to act within the best interest of your employer at all times. You know, yeah, there's a contract of employment. You honor those terms. If it say that you must work notice, you don't just go away and leave. You work your notice because that's the right thing to do. If there's a restraint of trade, let's not talk about the complexities about those concepts, but in principle, you've signed the restraint of trade when you start your employment. When you leave, you don't go work for the competitor. You honor that restraint of trade, né? Because that's the right thing to do. You look after the interests of your employer. And when you communicate with the clients of the employer, don't threaten them. Don't abuse them. Don't victimize them. It's your employer's clients, not yours. Okay? So, I don't know if Generation Z can deal with these kind of words because they think they're entitled. No? Everything belongs to them and nobody can do anything.
And they know everything.
And
they have answers to
everything. Look, make no mistake. Let us not speak out of the limitations of us being Generation X, I think there's a lot we can learn from Generation
100%.
I mean, I learn things from my son that's unbloody believable. They are just in a new era, space age. So absolutely, we can learn a lot from Generation Z. But seriously, when it comes to respect and the sense of entitlement, you guys have a lot to learn, man. If your mother is your boss, she's ma'am.
I think that's all for this week.
Like and subscribe.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to put your comments in your experience with the Generation Z so that we can have a conversation. Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.
See you next
Enjoy.
time. Bye.